Good morning, traders, and welcome to the daily call today, Monday, the 30th of January 2017. Before we get started, please understand that any advice in this session is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. Okay, so let's have a look how the week rounded up and finished out last week. There wasn't much happening on Friday evening, but we did have in Japan, the CPI number came in at minus 0.3%, a little bit better than the forecast. Japanese yen at the moment is still playing second fiddle to most of its counterparts or most of the other major currencies, as we saw last week. In Europe, the major talking point, we had the ECOFIN meetings and the money supply number came in at 5%, very close to the 4.9 forecast. But the main talking point in the Eurozone at the moment is that Greece's government essentially has 3 weeks to break the deadlock in talks with its creditors, or they risk the country going into a crisis again, as we saw probably about 18 months ago from memory right now. At the moment, Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras is facing the dilemma of pretty much agreeing to additional austerity or calling fresh elections. So this is one to keep your eye on. It's going to dominate a little bit, possibly at least until this 3-week deadline. And let's see what happens in the euro there. Moving along. In the US, essentially, well, pretty much we've come off the first week of Mr. Donald Trump's presidency, and we've got a little bit of a taste of how committed he is to the promises that he made during his campaign. As pretty much on Friday, the numbers showed that the US economic growth slowed a little in Q4, but there's hope ahead with signs of housing and business investment that the economy will rebound in the coming months, and the GDP number at 1.9% to the 2.1, the sentiment number pretty much on the money. Okay, so that's pretty much all we had to end last week, trading week. So time for this week, our chart of the day. Now it's an interesting one because coming into fundamentally a situation where this is going to oppose the trade that I'm going to suggest today. Looking at the Euro USD, this is our daily chart of the day, and the question mark is, we can see clearly from my charts here that my moving averages have crossed over at this point, which by our definition signals a trend change. So the question remains, has the trend changed in an upward direction? And then if we agree and we are content to attempt this type of trade, then we have to have a look at this setup that we have here. We have a really nice inside candle that's ready to go right now. All we need is a break of the inside candle and we should be set. Now things to look out for here is, notice that this high up there, so effectively if we did take this trade, I believe that there is enough room because your stop would be over here. So it looks like there's this, visually at least, looks at least about a 1.5 to 1 risk reward type trade, so which would justify attempting it. Okay, so I realize that the news and the fundamental news is, you know, the euro could be in crisis, but bear in mind that that Greece is one of the smaller members of the euro. Okay, so that is our trade of the week, trade of the day, Euro USD. All right, so what's happening tomorrow in the coming session? Essentially, we have a very light day. All the news I'm going to show you today is not major impacting, but nevertheless, we do have a German prelim CPI, and that's due out at some point throughout the day. It's 6:45 this evening. The RBA Governor De Bell speaks. Later at 7, we have Spanish GDP, so this one's a little bit more impacting. At 12:30, just after midnight, we have data from the US, and then finally at 2 a.m. we have pending home sales from the US as well. Again, all these figures I'm showing you right now, this data is not major impacting, and that's what we have for today. So as always, please feel free to contact us. If you have any questions, follow me on Twitter at ChatFX or for trade setups and or breaking news. Most importantly, hope you all have a great trading day, and I will see you all for a full in-depth 1 hour session later this afternoon at 3:30 for our complete weekly market forecast. I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.